Okay. Good morning, Uzma. How are you today?
Good. I am great. How are you, Kate?
Good. Tell me about your morning. How was your
Oh,
morning
my
so far?
morning. I love to tell about this. It was a
I know.
fabulous morning today because the entire neighborhood's internet went out. So I was really scared I wasn't going to be able to record this podcast. So my daughter taught me how to do hotspot. So because I was so obsessed with the internet this morning, I didn't get time to take a shower. So I'm wearing this beautiful hat. So those of you who watch our YouTube channel can see me in my winter hat.
Well, I told you I loved your hat. Hey, the thing
Yes.
about hot spotting, make sure when you're done hot spotting to turn it off. My husband had to we had the same thing happen, I think last week because we had a nice storm. Um,
Yeah.
and he didn't turn his hotspot off. And every time I got near him, my watch is like, oh, do you want a hotspot? Like, no.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad for, my daughter who helped me figure out how to do this hotspot. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on this morning to ask you, how was your morning?
Oh, I had a good morning. So this is fun. I've started meditating for like an hour every morning. I used to do like max 20 minutes. So I started doing an hour. I've been doing these guided meditations, like a quantum meditation, so I can like see my future and what I want. And then I've been trying to clear my chakras because I know some of those bitches are blocked.
Yeah.
But that's been like an hour. And so this morning I didn't do anything guided. I have the Calm app and I put the thunderstorm on in the background and I meditated for 30 minutes. And since I've been doing an hour, it felt like 5 or 10 minutes. Like it was over like that. So that's kind of fun. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, and I don't work today, so that's good too. And we have a really wonderful guest, so I was really excited to have her join us today.
Yes, I'm so
Um,
excited for our guests.
yeah, all right. So today we have Melissa Perkins, and Melissa has 25 years experience in like health and coaching for. I know one thing particular when I had you in my group to chat, you one of your specialties is working with people that maybe are have injuries or they're like, I can't exercise, I can't move. So maybe more that's a mindset block, right? um yeah, I mean, probably a little bit of both, but that really feel like movement isn't something that is attainable for them anymore. So I know that's one thing that you talk about a lot too. But welcome, Melissa. We're so excited to have you tell us a little bit more about who Melissa Perkins is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kate and Uzma. It's great to be here. And let me just first kind of talk about what you mentioned about people kind of having a mindset block or thinking that movement isn't for them. Um, because I think there's so much information out there where people think, oh, I have to do X, Y, or Z because that's what, you know, they say I should do. And instead of taking oh, I should do this or I have to do this, it helping people understand that maybe what's right for you is not right for everybody else, and finding what is something that you'll kind of stick with that is appropriate for you. So there's always something, that we can find to move our bodies. And, maybe for someone, it might look very different than for someone else, or even the general population. And that's okay. That's part of why I like what I do, is being able to show people that they can do something, and have more of a positive attitude towards, well, what can you do, rather than, oh, I can't do this, or
Yeah.
even with food, I can't, eat that, or that sort of thing. So I work as a personal trainer, and a nutritionist, for the last 25 years. The majority of those have been in person, until the pandemic hit, and I had to, like so many other people, shift my business, and understand, wow, why, what can I do? I love what I do. That's why I'm still doing this 25 years later,
Right.
in the health and wellness industry. And so I took all my coaching online, and I wish I'd done it sooner. And I don't know why I didn't, because I have a husband whose career makes us move, every few years. So this is portable, and I don't have to lose clients. If I move out of the area physically. In the past, that was kind of it. And so it actually helped me find where I really should fit in this industry and being able to help more people, because now I have a wider reach.
Yeah, I think that's been the like one like shining, or what do you call it? I don't know, good thing out of COVID is
Absolutely.
more people have moved online to be able to serve, because the people we serve aren't just local, right?
Correct.
And so that was a mindset block that I think a lot of us did have, right? Like if you got a job, you had to go to that job, or if I live in Chicago and my job that I just applied for was in Denver, it's like, okay, well, now you got to pick up and move. And it's just opened this whole new arena for people to find who they're attracted. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, me too. And for me, I love to travel. And so I have been able to continue to serve my clients and keep my business going, and do that for as long as I have Wi-Fi, and my laptop, I'm good to go.
Yes. Or a
and
hotspot.
I've done the hotspot thing before too. I've had to do that where I said, I've got to, figure this out. And you do. And it's the technology has been interesting along the way for all of us. But it really, helped me to find where I can actually help more people. And that's part of why I do this, is I especially work with women. So I want to make sure that I'm able to reach more women and show them that there's a different way than what they've been, struggling to try to do, that they think is the way towards weight loss or wellness or improving their health. So that's been, it's been a good thing, that was a one good thing for me in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, how did you get into this?
Well, I was an athlete in college, and I actually went to college for athletic training and exercise science as my bachelor's degree. So I wanted to be that person who runs out on the field when an athlete got injured. You'll see them on, TV or even high school sports and college sports. And then I married my husband, who was going in the military, and realized that this was not a portable career. When I moved to be with him, I lost my network and realized that again, there was my first pivot, I guess, in my career, was how do I use this information, but in a way that I can make this work for his career, because that was his plan, was to make this a career. So I got my personal training certification through NASM, and I was a strength and conditioning coach. And and that's where I started working with using that information and that background to work with people who had injuries and medical conditions. So I was that personal trainer that was sent to, the people who had, those problems that other personal trainers didn't know how to work with. So that kind of became my niche, back then. And then as I got older, I realized, as a woman who is almost 50 now, there was a lot of, or a lack of, information for women on what should you do now, not when you're 30, not when you're 28, but okay, you're 40, 50 years old. There was kind of this disconnect between the young age or you're a senior. And what should we be doing, as our bodies change, as our priorities change, as our life changes. And so that kind of became several years ago more of an interest to me, because I saw there was a lack of good information that was more targeted toward this particular population, within which, I could relate, because that was me too.
So that kind of answers. Oh, go ahead. That also answers the question, why do you do what you do? Right. Because you found a gap, a need for women. And I feel like menopause, if I can, sorry, cursing on the podcast, that word just comes up. And I know I cringe, because I feel like there's so much just misinformation around that too. Like, you hit this time in your life and all of a sudden your metabolism slows down, which I've read that's not necessarily true per se, and just I feel like it's become this industry of let's sell women supplements and things to combat this. Whereas, I know there's just better ways, movement being one of them, to just navigate through that challenge in our lives.
Absolutely. There's kind of two different things. There's so much information. There's a lot of bad information, but there's also a lack of good information out there. It's science-based information. And anyone who knows me professionally, or has worked with me, knows that science is a big thing for me. That I'm not taking the anecdotal, oh, this worked for me, or this, what does the science say? What are they finding? And sometimes there's lack of research for women too, which is unfortunate. And then sometimes, over the years, we've had to figure it out ourselves. And there's been a lot of that. But I think the women, now that are around that menopause age, came from a time of diet culture,
Mhm.
and the
Yes.
body ideal that we had when we were younger was very unrealistic, very stick thin, kind of unhealthy. The supermodels and there was no curves, that was not what we were supposed to,
Right.
aim to be. And I think that's has stayed with us. I know, from experience, mindset psychology wise, things stay with us from childhood. So those things that we saw, the images, the information that we're given, have stuck with us. And I think that's a big thing that I find I'm combating with a lot of women, now is, who are around that age, is getting away from those ideals and those things that are in our mind of um, how you should look, and what we should be trying to, the scale is a big thing,
Mhm.
regardless of how your clothes fit, or if you've gotten stronger, or, it's still, what does the scale number say? That makes or break your day. And I really try to get women away from the whole diet is the answer, the scale is the only, measurement of my success type of mindset.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what are three things you would suggest people, women do?
Well, I, th- I think the biggest thing for me is looking at things as a whole, in a more of a holistic wellness approach. We always think diet and exercise, but women tend to be the people who take everything on, and tend to be under a lot of stress, even if they feel like I've got a great life, I don't have a lot of stress, I'm managing. A lot of times they aren't, and they don't realize that maybe if they're over exercising or eating, not the best, that stresses their body. And that is a
Mhm.
form of stress that if you're trying to work out like you did when you were, 30 years old, maybe that's not the best thing for your body anymore, not just physically, but actually, uh, internally, as far as stress wise. So, looking at things beyond diet and exercise, looking at sleep and stress management are kind of like puzzle pieces. So putting those things together where they don't realize how much those have an effect on what they're doing. And if they're having, if they're feeling stuck in weight loss or improving their health, that
I
maybe
have a
those are
friend.
things they haven't looked at.
Yeah, I have a friend, and I bring this up because you said it, which I found this fascinating. She's vegan, right? She eats well, and she was doing CrossFit, and not she didn't change anything in what she was doing, and she started gaining weight. So went to the doctor, and that's exactly what was going on. They're like, you are stressing your body out with your CrossFit training. First of all, like you've got to dial that back. And there were just some imbalances going on, but that was a big kind of red flag of you're really just stressing your body out. So I love that you brought that up, because I feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm falling short by not getting enough exercise, but it really is about balance.
Yes, that's the perfect word, is finding a balance of, doing thing, everything we do. If you think about it this way, there's kind of that fight or flight response of our body, the adrenaline, the go, go, go. But we totally miss this side, that what we call the parasympathetic side of things, or the rest and digest is an easy way to think of it. And so many women are, I got to do more. I have to do more exercise because now my metabolism slowed down. So I have to do more cardio and more CrossFit, and then they eat less and they eat less because that's what they're told. You have to eat less and move more. And it's not that simple. And then there's a point where women actually are doing more damage to their metabolism and their goals by doing the move more, eat less mentality, program,
Right.
because they're doing exactly what you said. They're out of balance, and they aren't looking at these other things that are being affected. And as we get older, hormones are, and our bodies are much more sensitive. And as those things change, we have to keep that in mind as well. And again, looking at the individual, it's not always the same approach for every person. You may have someone who, has that high stress and their cortisol is high and their hormones are off. And there are a lot of natural things that we can do to improve that. But there's also the mindset part of it too, that is really hard to get a lot of women to realize, that they have to switch that mindset and realize, it's okay for me to do less. It's okay for me to take a rest day in my, crazy workout schedule. It's okay for me to, or some women are on the other spectrum. It's okay for me to go exercise and take time for myself because, I have to, take care of my kids. I've got to work. I've got to take care of my house. Maybe I have aging parents that, I have to take care of, and all these other, things that we take on, especially, as women, that sometimes we are the last person who gets any sort of care.
Yeah.
And that's a large part of what I try to instill in women, that it's not selfish to take care of yourself, and that you should be a priority in your life, not everybody and everything else.
Exactly. That what you just touched on before, I'm that person. If I don't walk my 10,000 plus a day, then I'm going to eat less. That's my mindset. You have to work out a lot and eat less. That's and I have this mindset that I'm trying to, break through and block. Like, Kate knows, like I try to do intermittent fasting, I try to do all these things that I keep on hearing, and I really don't know what is right. So what are some mindset blocks that you come across?
Good question.
Oh, yeah, excellent question. And there are some of the most common ones I see are kind of like what I talked about, the mindset block of the doing less is actually better for me. And eating more is actually going to help me lose weight. Because I get a lot of women, again, who have come to me from a background of dieting, or weight yo-yoing up and down, or just restrictive eating altogether, where they really eat too few calories than their body needs. And when I calculate out what they're eating compared to what they should be eating, I find out, wow, you've been under eating for, it could be years. And they have the mentality of, I can't eat more. That's totally counterintuitive to anything I've ever been told. So getting them to trust that process and understand that we actually have to reverse the damage and bring them up to a level of homeostasis, the balance of your body, where your body is happy again. And we start looking at, wow, now I have more energy. I can sleep better. My mood is better. Even things like their libido improve because they haven't been treating their body well. It is easy for me to tell them to do, but the mindset of this is what's going to help me is very challenging, especially for women, and getting them to understand that process. And so it takes some time to, bring awareness to that. And why are we doing this? And telling them that you can lose weight, but we've got to bring your body up to where it's not stressed out. So that's one thing is just the whole mindset of, it's okay to make these changes against what you think you should be doing, because sometimes it's actually been hurting you. And then I think the mindset again around the scale being your only measure of success. and trying to get them to realize, well, maybe let's, take some pictures and, just, you don't have to share them with anybody, but just have a progress picture, because sometimes, you don't realize how much your body has changed. Maybe the scale hasn't changed much, but your body is now showing some recomposition.
Right.
And you look at a picture now, and then maybe 6 weeks from now, and you can see, wow, I can see more definition in my waist, and my hips are smaller. Maybe you do some measurements, or use even some, clothes, like a pair of jeans that are a little tight. Use that as a goal, or a progress measurement rather than the scale, because for, especially for women, that can go up and down in a day.
Well, also
and make or break your day, if depending on what you see.
Also with the scale, because it's been a while, but I used to do a lot of strength training. I used to do CrossFit. I used to lift weights. That increases your bone density and builds muscle, which is a factor on the scale. So you might weigh more, but you could be smaller.
Absolutely. That's so true. And for a lot of women, they don't realize that the scale is not you can weigh yourself. That's okay. If that works for you. For some women, it's such a hard thing to get rid of, that maybe they just have to get rid of the scale completely, because it's just too much for them. They just mentally, it doesn't work. So
I never had a scale in my house with two girls. And once they went to college, then they each bought a scale.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have it when they were young, because I was like, I just don't want to know, and I don't want them to be weighing themselves all the time. So we never had a scale until they went to college, and then they bought one, and then they ordered one and sent me one.
Oh, that's funny.
They sent you one.
So like, they go to the gym, or they go to their friend's house and they weigh themselves. They're like, you don't ever get a scale? Like, no, we don't need one in our house.
Yeah. I think that was a good thing. Because for anyone who is a mom, they have to really watch what they, not what necessarily always what they say and do to their children, but themselves, because I remember my mom, just muttering things under her breath, or saying, a throwaway comment about herself, not about, I was wonderful, beautiful, perfect, whatever, but her, I would hear what she would say about herself. And I, as a girl too, would, wow, how do I, take that in? And those things will stay with you from your childhood too, to create your mentality around things and your mindset around things too. And I hope that with some of the things I do with women is teach them that you're a role model for your children, and you don't have to tell them mommy's exercising because I want to, lose weight, or I want to get stronger. Just exercise, and they'll see, wow, that's something that, women do, or that moms do. And that's a normal thing. And maybe they want to join you in that, or if you're eating healthy, or you are actively trying to lose weight, well, maybe you don't tell them, mommy's on a diet, or I'm trying to lose weight. You tell them, I want to be around for you for a long time, and I want to take care of my health. And, usually those are things that, moms and women feel that, they want to be there for the people that rely on them. And, teaching them those healthy habits.
That's such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Whether it's our kids, or like all of us have our own, Facebook groups. Right. And, just that verbiage of, it's okay to want to move your body. It's okay to want to eat healthy for other reasons than just how you look. Right. Is a great message.
Yeah. Something that's coming to my mind is that a lot of moms are inconsistent, or they think they can do it by themselves. They'll go find a personal trainer, but they'll be like, oh, I can do my own eating by myself. Or they'll go find somebody who helps with their eating, and then they'll work out themselves. So do you think it's important to get somebody who helps with both? Because so many of us, we think we can do it on our own, and we're going through the same thing year after year, not any progress, not changing our mindset. Is it important to find somebody to start you off if you really want to be healthy, and start some kind of program for yourself as you get older?
That's a great question. And, obviously I even as a coach, I have coaches, in the past. So I'm sure you're the same. So I try to tell people that too, is, hey, I'm a coach, but I need help in areas where, and it might be, I've had a personal trainer in the past because I spent so much time helping other people that my, goals didn't get met because I put so much energy into everything else. Or maybe a business coach because I knew I didn't know what to do in certain areas. And so I sought help. And so I try to, tell them, hey, I know it's not easy to ask for help. I know it's, you want to do it on your own because, yeah, I can do it on my own. I don't need anybody else. I mean, but I realize that letting them understand that I too have had coaches as well, because I understood the value in it. And then I can tell them, here's why it's important. And so, to a little more answer your question, you know, again, like it kind of goes back to saying that there are all these pieces of the puzzle, and nutrition, exercise, for example. So having a personal trainer, having a nutritionist, if it's one person who has both of those expertise areas, great. Maybe it's not, maybe, someone's personal trainer doesn't deal with nutrition, or maybe someone just has maybe they need to go see a registered dietitian because they have diabetes or a medical condition that a nutritionist, it's out of their scope of practice. And hopefully a good nutritionist would say that, or a personal trainer who doesn't know how to work with someone with injuries or medical conditions would say, let me refer you to someone who does do that, rather than just taking them on and saying, well, I'll figure it out. Hopefully there's, we have these standards that we should hopefully be following as other
Some integrity.
professionals. Yeah. And I'm big on that, but not everybody in the industry, is like that.
Yeah.
So to me, because those two things go so hand in hand, that working on them both at the same time makes the most sense, because you'll get the most out of that help.
Yeah.
And then that person knows exactly what's going on in both of those areas. So they know, oh, I know exactly what you're doing for activity, so I know how to adjust your nutrition accordingly.
Right.
Or if they see, for example, I do a lot of work on biofeedback. When I work with people, I monitor that regularly to see, if I make a change, how is your body responding? And if I see your body is responding in a particular way, I can say, oh, I know what caused that, because I was the one who made this change, or that thing. And I know, okay, I need to back this particular thing off. And that's the expertise that a lay person just doesn't have. They don't know how to look at those other things, again, beyond the scale, or things like that, that will tell you more about what's exactly going on with your body. And then we get to a point where, if I know I can't naturally help them with, say, balancing hormones, or, something like that, then I'll say, we need to have go to your doctor, or maybe you haven't had any lab work in a while. And, I think there's something else deeper going on, or maybe, have that conversation of going into a deeper area that we naturally have done what we can do. We still haven't seen your body come back to where it should be. Here's, what I think your next step should be. And then work on, hopefully with that professional, whoever it is, and say, here's what you've been doing. Let's see what they say. And then let's, come up with a plan based on, more information.
Right.
Awesome.
Which
What
leads
good
us
information.
Yeah, it's really good information. And I love that you're like, yeah, I'll work alongside anybody to help,
Absolutely.
to help you out. That's so important. I think so. There are a lot of coaches out there that wouldn't do that. That would feel like, nope, then you just need to go do that. Because they feel a little threatened. But so I really
can't. And I think you need to know your limitations.
Sure.
And I think some people just won't do that. And it's to the detriment of the client. And my whole philosophy is, I'm here for the client. I'm here to do what's best for them. And if I speak with someone and they what, information they tell me, and I realize I'm not the best fit for them, I will tell them that, and I will say, I would love to help you, but I really think you need to speak with this person. If I have someone in my network that I can, tell them, or if I don't, I'll say, well, this is the professional that you need to speak with for whatever their needs are. And then, maybe down the road, then you come back to me when when that's taken care of, or maybe it may never be. I might just not be that person.
The person for you.
If for that, I'm not that person for you. And then every now and then it's doesn't have to do with the issues. It just has to do with maybe there's just not a fit. It's just not a good personality fit or outlook or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because it's a big communication. It's a two-way street. It's not just me telling them what to do. I need their feedback. I need them comfortable with me, and having them have that level of trust that, and if they don't feel that, or if they just don't feel like it just doesn't click, then I don't want them to force it. And I would never force someone and take them on as a client just because I want a client. Or
so what does it look like to work with you? Do you do one-on-one? Do you do group? Like what does it look like to work with Melissa?
I have different options for people. My signature program is I have a 3-month one-on-one program called the Heal Method. I also have a 6-month program. And basically it sort of depends on how deep the issues are, and kind of helping people fit into which one-on-one coaching scenario works best for them. That's where I can do the most work is when it's one-on-one, because everything is individualized. There's no template. There's no generic information. It is all based on you and then adjusted along the way based on how your body is responding and what's going on. And that's both. I say it's a wellness program, really. It's nutrition, it's exercise, it's mindset, it's all of that. It's sleep, it's stress management. We touch on all of those different topics because that's really what gets people the success that they're looking for, and sustainable habits.
Awesome.
A lot of it is I tell people, if you want a quick fix, if you want another diet, or please don't. I'm not the person for you.
You're not their girl.
I'm not that person, because I'm the exact opposite. I don't believe in the diets. I don't believe in the pills, the potions, and the it pains me to see people trying to get those quick fixes and then just come back and lose the weight, gain it back, and then they're in the same position again, and they've wasted the time and money when they could have learned the habits that will sustain them for a lifetime by working, with me to teach them the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as like restrictive or as painful as these diets and other programs are.
Yeah.
And then if people maybe budget is a concern. And so I have a group, option too, where I have a lower cost, kind of budget friendly group coaching, informational Facebook group that people can be part of too, where, they get a little bit of coaching, but it's not, it's at a level where they still get, some expertise and information that will help them. But maybe they just aren't ready to jump into one-on-one, or maybe budget really is a concern. And so I wanted to have something that, would fit that area for people too.
Awesome. Well, we'll link all of this to the bottom in the show notes. And
Awesome.
thank you so much. This was so informative. Don't you think so, Kate?
I do. I love, I just honestly, like, my Facebook page comes up, or, all the time, like, women in menopause, you need to take these pills. And it's really about this, that, or the other thing. And it just drives me crazy to see, and you touched on it a little bit, right? Societal norms. That was our first podcast. Like, what societal norms, people try to apply them to themselves all the time. And don't just,
Thank you.
Yeah. Societal norms suck, right?
Yeah,
there was a supermodel when I was growing up named frickin' Twiggy. Does everybody remember Twiggy? Because she was like the skinniest tiny model, right? Yeah. Like, that's what we grew up with. We need to get that. And I
every day I'm fighting that, because I just know how much power that can have. And trying to help women to realize that that's not where, we're not looking for that, let's make you the best you. And, and I appreciate you, letting me talk about something that I love talking about.
It shows that you're super passionate.
Yes, it does. And what's really interesting is that we think in our 20s and our 30s, by our 40s and 50s, we would not have that mindset of you have to be skinny. Skinny is beautiful. This is the way to be. But still, even as you get older, we still have that mindset that we have to be skinny, that's the best way to be. That's why that's how people will love us. That's how people will look at us. If you're even a little bit heavy, we still don't have that mindset that, okay, we've had a good life, health is wealth, that type of thing. It's all like, you have to be skinny, and I just wish that as you get older, that mindset would change, but it doesn't.
Right.
And then as
Absolutely
adults, even though we know, we put it on younger people too. Oh, look at that girl. She's not skinny. Oh, she's so beautiful. And that's because she's skinny. She might, you might not be a beautiful person because she's skinny. She's skinnier than the heavier one who's actually gorgeous.
Right.
Weight is such a big thing in every.
And we're fighting against, social media and TV and all, print, everything it still shows that, to this day, and fighting against it is tough.
It's a struggle.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for coming. This has been amazing. Love talking to you. And
Thank you so much.
Uzma, you always have your thing that you say at the end. Subscribe, comment, share, tell everybody. We'll link everything of Melissa's at the bottom. And those of you who want to see what we look like and how we dress for these podcasts, we also are loaded up on YouTube as Two Moms Save the World. So if you want to watch us, if you're a visual person, that's a great way to watch us as well. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
nice
Melissa.
Talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.